Hello, my name's Stephen from K-Scale Models, and today I'm doing a video on photoetch, or at least creating photoetch for your 3D printed models. So, first off, I will not be physically creating the photoetch myself. I will be just making the drawings and sending it off to a company to make. I have seen some really interesting videos where people have made photoetch or something similar with a resin 3D printer. The idea was to create a printed circuit board, but I don't see why the principle couldn't be used to create photoetch that we're using for this sort of stuff. It's just, I don't feel confident enough doing it for a commercial purpose, which is what I'm doing with this. So, on to this. Now, this is the fan. As you can see, there's a couple of different versions of the front here. Now, there's a reason for it. This is the canopy if you're just going to 3D print it. Now, this was my initial thought. Could I just 3D print the canopy and that would do for the kit? Turns out there's loads of layer lines, and talking to experienced modelers who win competitions, I only win competitions at model shows when I'm the only entry. Look it up, you'll see my name at some competitions where there's no other entries. Anyway, yeah, so there was lots of layer lines, so this didn't work. I made this version because not everyone wants to actually make the full cockpit interior, so yeah, that one's fine, that doesn't matter. But this one is the one that matters, and it was just not going anywhere when I was 3D printed it in clear. So I thought, okay, well maybe I could vac form it. So that is what this is. This is a sort of, I think it's a blank or something. I can't remember the exact term. Someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. But yeah, this is the little bit that the vac form was to go over, and there was a number of problems. First off, because I was 3D printing it, there was layer lines, and I'm trying to avoid layer lines, so that didn't work. Second, this is a terrible shape for vac forming. There's all these very sharp corners in here. Vac forming doesn't work with that, especially this area here. In fact, you couldn't see this lower part here because basically the vac form would come in and go straight down here. It would go from here to this line here, and you wouldn't get half of that detail. So yeah, that was a mistake. So me and my friend who is doing the vac forming for me, he's got his own company that he's starting up. He's doing vac forming, he's doing resin casting, he does a lot of World War One sort of interwar biplanes. Interesting stuff, just not my cup of tea. And yes, he is one of those guys that if he enters a competition, he wins it. So yeah, he's out of my league in like model making skills, although he doesn't know anything about 3D modeling. Anyway, so our idea was he can vac form this canopy if there is no ribbing on it. So we take the ribbing off. That's what this is here. I'll just show you the body. So that is the actual canopy there, and this is the frame. Now, I have considered 3D printing this, and I may do so for what I'm working with because it might be easier, and I'll explain that more later. But I'm going to use this as a demonstration on how you would actually make how you would design it. So what I've done is I've actually done it wrong once and right once. So we got, as you can see here, I've made a bunch of sketches and projected all the geometry for it. So I've done that on the inside and the outside. So this is where I went wrong. Really, we don't care about the outside. We want to care about the part that connects to my 3D printed model, or the vac form canopy. So that's this interior bit. Now, we are going to be changing the vac form part to fit the photoetch, because the photoetch is going to cost more than my friend mucking around and sanding a bit down. So yeah, that's what the plan is. So anyway, I took these bits and then I created, and I'll just get rid of these so you can see it. Oh, yeah, I created this. So this is all the flat areas for the interior just laid out, connected to each other. So that is what the photo etch will look like. The problem is, if I hand this to someone that does the photo etching, they're going to go, what's the inside, what's the outside, I don't understand what you're trying to do here, what are these lines here, here, here for? So I have to convert this into something they can understand. Now, I normally use a company called PPD Limited. They're based in Scotland, so they're not too far from me. Oh, they're the other side of Scotland, but you get the idea. And they've been fairly reliable. Now, I'll come back to talk about them more in a moment, but they've got this section on their website saying art guide. So this is what they describe it. They describe this as art because a lot of what they deal with is art. But they mainly use 3 different bits of software. I don't know what that is. Cornell, Adobe Illustrator, and AutoCAD. Now, I know AutoCAD. I'm a draftsman. So, yeah, I'm going to pick a file format or things that work with that. Now, this is another bit. They tell you the file formats. DWG, DXF. Those I'm two very familiar with. DWG is an Autodesk Inventor, an AutoCAD file format, and DXF is a universal file format across all 2D platforms. So, yeah, in fact, you'll find that lots of other programs that are not CAD will be able to open up a DXF file. I was playing around with Cricut, a little cutter for cutting things out, and it can use DXF. Anyway, moving on, we've got our optimal size for photo etching. So this is like their size of material. If you go outside that, then you're going to be basically going to the next level up. This is the material they've got. This is what you've got to cut it into. So we're going to ignore laser artwork for now because we're not going to deal with that. Etching artwork. So they've given an example of the front, the back, and what you would need to give them to produce that. And you can see here, we've got white indicating cutting through, black indicating solid parts, blue indicating etching on the back halfway through, red indicating etching on the front. So that would create this. So we need to create something that looks like that from this. Now, in Fusion, you can go in and you can save sketches as DXF. So go here, save as DXF. This will create a DXF of this, and I can import it into another CAD program that does let me change the line colors. As I said, you don't have to use a CAD program because there is other stuff out there. It's just I feel more comfortable in CAD. So this is Solid Edge. It's made by Siemens. I've used it before. It's not got all the bells and whistles of AutoCAD, but it works. It's a fairly solid CAD package. And yeah, I was able to draw this up. So just to go over what I've got here. I've got clear hashing white hashing to indicate that, yeah, these areas are to be cut out. I've got red to indicate, say here, that there needs to be etching on the top surface. And you'll also notice that there's a few bits around the edge that also have that. This is so that you know where to cut. You see this line here, and you go, all right, I cut along there. You've got blue at the bottom. This is so you can fold it easier. If it's a little bit etched, you can fold it easier. And this is thin stuff, so I'm wanting to give everyone the best chance of being able to do this. Although I'm probably going to hand this over to someone else to actually make because I'm allergic to photo etch. Anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, so I drew it up on a sheet that they will be able to use. This is their 139 by 290 sheet, and I've sent it off to them. So why might I not be using them for this, and why might I be doing something else? Well, after sending this off to them, they came back to me and said, yeah, we're really busy at the moment. It's going to be 3 or 4 weeks before we'll get back to you with an actual machine part. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it that way. I might try something else. So what I may end up doing is I may end up just 3D printing the frame and vac forming the canopy itself. This keeps it in-house and lets me play around with it. But it may be a case that some of this is just too thin, and I do end up having to go down the road of photo etch. We'll see what happens, but hopefully from this tutorial you've understood what you need to do for creating photo etch, how you create it from your geometry, and hopefully you're able to go and make something. So if you do, please leave in the description below what you were able to do. If you've got any recommendations of companies in your country or even within the UK that have got a shorter lead time than a month, then please let me know. I may have a look at them. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.